has left his kingdom out of great dispassion and went to the forest and started doing penance and worshipping the gods for, for attaining the highest peace which was not attained by him. Of course, for more than 18 years he did penance. By that only the purification of the internal fourfold mind and everything, body, prana, etc. was achieved, but knowledge or the peace of mind was not achieved by the king. He was very much worried, doing so much, renouncing everything. I am unable to attain the highest peace. By the way, when Chudala, who had attained the knowledge of the self, she took the form of a celestial being and she went to see the condition of the king Sikhidhwaj. She found he was now ready to receive the knowledge. Though both of them studied the scriptures from the Guru, because the king's mind was not so pure, he could not accept the reality as it is. He thought, first of all, one should do austerities for purification of the soul, and then only knowledge is attainable, self-knowledge. And that is what he did. But Chudala was very much pure in mind and soul, so she got realization of the truth then and there. She took no time, and as a result she got all the supernatural powers which one attains by self-knowledge. Because the self is all-pervading, all-powerful, all knowledge itself, so that omnipotency, omnipresency and omnisciency, all these qualities were seen in Chudala. So she took the form of some celestial being and went to the king to see the condition of the king. She didn't go as Chudala, the king's wife, because one should have total faith and conviction, devotion towards his Guru. Then only the words will fructify, it will react in the mind. Without faith, without devotion, the words of Guru will not do anything. It will not be beneficial for the student. Faith and devotions are the primordial conditions, qualities of a student. In this way, Chudala took the other form than the queen and went to the king, and she was very bright and she was full of knowledge and everything. So naturally the king got some devotion towards him, not her, and he accepted him, whose name was Kumbha Muni, as his guru, and they had discussions on the attainment of peace, how one attains peace. So Sikhit was narrated all his difficulties before the Guru Kumbha Muni, and Kumbha Muni went on teaching him step by step, slowly, what is called real renunciation. By renouncing the kingdom or the subjects of the kingdom or the queen or the royal enjoyments is not enough, because the thought of renunciation is there. The renunciator, that identity of renouncing is there. So, as long as the ego or the seed of ego, that is chitta, the subconscious mind, is not renounced fully, that means it is not totally forgotten. Till then, the real renunciation is not completed. So this is what Kumbha Muni explained to the king Sikhidhwaj, step by step, slowly, and the Kumbha Muni tried to explain and bring out the experience of the king himself, whatever he experiences, by the advice of Kumbha Muni. So the king slowly got to understand what is real renunciation and what are the difficulties in the path of renunciation. How attachment and ego is so very difficult to renounce. Of course, we can renounce the objects. We can have dispassion towards the objects, sense objects. We can stop the senses having contact with the sense objects, but yet that attachment towards these objects and that sense of doership is so very difficult to renounce. And the king sincerely, open-heartedly expressed all those difficulties before the Guru Kumbha Muni, who was the Queen Chudala in disguise. When Sikhidhwaj narrated his difficulties, how to renounce this ego, Kumbh Muni, the Guru, told him to renounce the idea of body. And sometimes Kumbh Muni used to have to give him some argumentative causes, some examples, and sometimes some experiential guidance. In this way, Sikh was able to understand how to renounce the ego. And Sikh was asked, प्रत्यक्ष उपलब्ध हो रहे देहादि का आप कैसे अपलाप करते हैं? यों राजा सिखध्वज पूछते हैं. When Kumbh Muni asked Sikhidhwaj to get rid of the body sense, body feeling, because the body feeling is the most difficult task to renounce. Every being has the body consciousness. I am the body. I, the ego, is mingled with, has become such totally one with the body. I am the body. Body is nothing but the outcome of the ego, I, and body has become a gross identificatory form of subtle ego. And the body is constituted by the 5 gross basic elements: the sky, air, fire, water, and earth. So the body is a gross form, and the ego has the subtle form of 5 units of 5 elements, that is the seeing sense. I want to see, I want to hear, I want to smell, I want to touch, and I want to taste. All these are the smaller, the minute unities of the 5 elements. The sky is the expansion of the sound, that is to hear. The sense is ear, and the air is expansion of touch. So by air we feel the touch of the object. In this way, the fire is outcome of form, and the water taste, and the earth smell. So in these 5 small units, together with ego and the prana, the activating process, the momentum, and the seed form, which is full of impressions or memories, they are the seed form of all these actions and reactions. So in this way, that triangular acting process, prana, the momentum, and the seed is all the memories, and the I or the ego or the mind and intellect, etc., they are one group. In this way, three groups together is known as the subtle body, the soul. That is the subtle body, and this gross body is made up of all these five gross elements. So in this way they have been one. The subtle body and the gross body, they have become identical. In this way there is attachment, so the subtle body becomes the I and it feels one with the gross body. I am the gross body. So this mistake is done in the very beginning of formation of the being. That means when the unmanifested manifests, it manifests in this way. First the I, and I becomes the subtle body, and then it identifies with the gross body, and they get oneness and they become one. In this way, it becomes so very difficult to renounce the body sense. It is not easy a job. And then comes the question, who is the renunciate? Who is going to renounce the body sense? Then ego comes. Just as we see, habit is very difficult to get rid of. See, if we write habit, literally Habit, if you delete T, no, if you delete the H, first alphabet, then what remains? A bit remains. Then if you delete A, bit remains. If you delete B, then it remains. So very difficult to get rid of habit. And still more difficult is to renounce the body sense. I am the body. I is identical with the body. So the doership is very hard to renounce, because the body and senses do all the job. So the I comes, I am the doer. In this way, of course we can say, we can see it analytically, but practically I am the doer and the body is the doer. So if something is being done, any action which will have reaction, nobody can escape from reaction of the action, because this is the law of nature. So, which is the cause for all these bondage and cycle of birth and death, karma is the root cause. And karma, nobody can remain without doing karma even for a moment, because prana is working all through, mind is working. So very difficult to stop the mind and prana also, they are cooperative. One energizes the other, so they work cooperatively. So it becomes so very difficult to get rid of I. That is what Sikhidwaj the king is asking to Kumbha Muni. When the body is so very clearly observed by everyone, how can you say there is no body? प्रत्यक्ष उपलब्ध हो रहा है देहादि का, आप कैसे अपलाप करते हैं? How can you deny this body which is directly experienced by everyone? राजा सिखध्वज ने कहा, हे मुने, जिस पदार्थ का प्रत्यक्षात्मक कोई एक स्वरूप उपलब्ध हो रहा है, वह असत स्वरूप कैसे है? सद्रूप से उपलब्ध हो रहे पदार्थ में असत की प्रतिज्ञा विरुद्ध है। इसको दृष्टांत से भी बतलाते हैं। आप कहिए तो प्रकाश भला तम कैसे हो सकता है? So the king asks Chudala, the Kumbha Muni, "Oh, the great wise man, how can you say the light is darkness when light is directly observed by everyone? It is light now. How can you say it is darkness? Body is experienced by everyone directly. How can you say there is no body?" हे मुने, हाथ पैर आदि से संयुक्त तथा क्रिया फल रूप विलास आदि से समन्वित सदा हम लोगों से अनुभूत हो रहा है यह शरीर कैसे नहीं है? ओ ग्रेट ascetic, when we experience the hands, the legs, and all these actions done by it, and its results enjoyed by the body, everyone experiences it. So, how can you say there is no body? Then Kumbha Muni, the Guru, explains to Raja Sikhidwaj, भ्रांतिग्रस्त उपलब्ध हुए पदार्थों में व्यभिचार होने के कारण एकमात्र उपलब्धि से दृश्य पदार्थों की सत्ता का निर्णय नहीं किया जा सकता है, किंतु कारणों के विद्यमान रहते जिस कार्य की उपलब्धि होती है उसी को सत्ता मानी जाती है और वे कारण इसमें विद्यमान नहीं है। कुंभ ने कहा, हे भूमिपाल, इस संसार में जिस कार्य का कारण विद्यमान नहीं है वह कार्य भी अपना अस्तित्व नहीं रखता, फिर उसका ज्ञान तो भी भ्रम ही है ना। So the Guru Kumbha Muni explains, my dear king, of course you are explaining everything, whatever you are feeling. Everybody feels like that. But can you say, just think a little seriously, can there be any effect without any cause? The whole world is nothing but action and reaction, cause and effect. The whole world stands on this theory, basic principle. Cause will be there, then it will have some effect. How can there be any effect without any cause? Can you accept it? See, all the effects are due to some causes. Example, of course, he will give. We can see, if there is no seed, how can you have a tree? The seed is the cause for the tree. If there is fire, then only you feel the heat. How can you feel heat without fire? How can you feel satisfaction of your hunger without eating? Without drinking, how can you be satisfied without drinking water? In this way, without cause, there is no effect. In Hindi, we have a beautiful bhajan. एक झोला में फूल पड़े हैं, एक झोला में कांटे, अरे कुछ कारण होगा. Two beggars have gone for begging. One gets some thorns in his begging cloth, and other gets some flowers. Is it without any reason? There is some reason behind it. Maybe unseen, but there is some reason behind it. Somebody abuses you. You are going in the road, walking in the road. Does anybody come without any reason? He will go on abusing you or throwing stones at you. It cannot happen. There will be some reason. You must have done some wrong to someone. Now he comes forward to throw stones at you or abuse you. Somebody garlands you and praises you. Is it without any reason, without any cause? You have done something. The result is your admiration. So everywhere we see in this world, there is no effect without cause. So how can you say there is some effect without any cause? Now he brings this example to the actual contemplation or discussion. He says, if there is some effect, there should be some cause. If effect is real, the cause will be real. If the cause is real, then effect will be real. What is the cause behind this body? Body is effect, the outcome. Can you harvest some crop without sowing the seeds in the field, without doing farming, you see, plowing the land and sowing the seed and watering, manuring and taking care of the crop. When time comes, you can harvest the crop. If you have done nothing, how can you harvest the crop? So the effect is dependent on the cause. Now, if this body is the effect, there should be some cause. What is the cause behind this body? कुंभ ने कहा है भूमिपाल, इस संसार में जैसे कार्य का कारण विद्यमान नहीं है, वो कार्य भी अपना अस्तित्व नहीं रखता, फिर उसका ज्ञान तो भी भ्रम ही है ना. If there is some effect without cause, then that effect is understood as misunderstanding. It is not there according to logic and visible examples. बिना कारण के यह शरीर रूपी कार्य नहीं रह सकता. जिस द्रव्य का बीज नहीं है, उसकी उत्पत्ति कहाँ कभी होती है? The same thing is repeating, emphasizing that if the body is the effect, there should be some cause. हे राजन, बिना कारण के जो कार्य सामने सत की तरह अनुभूत होता है, उसे मृग तृष्णा जल के सदृश देखने वाले के विभ्रम से उत्पन्न समझिए. Just as we see the water in the mirage, there is no cause for it. So, the water in the mirage is nothing but misunderstanding or ignorance. मिथ्या भ्रम से उदित हुए शरीर आदि को आप अविद्यमान ही जानिए, क्योंकि अत्यधिक यत्नशील मनुष्य को भी यह मृग तृष्णा जल लब्ध नहीं होता है. He says there is no cause seen for the effect body. If the body is visible to you, you argue that everybody experiences the presence of the body, gross body. What is the cause of the body? Now you will say the same thing just as before. Just now we discussed the 5 elements, the air, the sky, air, fire, water and earth. They are the basic cause for the gross body. So if you say like this, he asked you to find out the cause for this body. Now we shall say all these 5 elements are the cause, instrumental cause. Now come on, what is the cause for all these 5 elements? If the elements are cause for the body, then elements are the cause. That cause will have some cause, because the cause and effect cycle, it goes on rotating. The cause becomes effect, effect becomes cause for another effect. In this way, they go on cycling. One becomes the cause for the other. the cause becomes effect, effect becomes cause for the another effect. In this way the cycle goes on eternally. In a circle, in a periphery of the circle, can you say where from it started and where it ended? The starting becomes end for the other starting. In this way, the world cycle goes on. So you cannot find out any cause for any effect, particular cause for particular effect, because the effect turns into become the cause. The same cause becomes effect. So if the body is effect, then body will be cause for some other thing. So whether the body is effect or the cause, because it is a cycle, the whole world goes on in a cycle. Gupta Chakra, the secret of secrets of this cycle, one becomes the cause for the other effect, and effect again becomes cause. So in this way the cycle goes on. So you cannot say what is the cause for this effect, body. तब क्या ये देह आदि बंध्या पुत्र की देह की तरह अत्यंत असती होंगे? यह राजा सिखिध्वज आशंका करते हैं. So Sikhidwaj the king now has doubt. If you say there is no cause for the body, then is it just like the son of a barren woman, which is not existing at all, or the horns of a rabbit, or the goats at the gateway, they are dancing, or the blueness of the sky, or the water in the mirage. All these are baseless, misunderstood objects, only imaginary objects, which has got no cause. There is no cause for the horns of a rabbit. There is no horns at all. We just imagine something. And for this also, we have so many different examples. There is a saying, there is a great bird in the sky. His name is Gandabhairav. Gandabhairav. In our old grandma's stories, the story comes on Gandabhairav. There is a big bird in the sky. It remains in the sky. It makes its nest in the sky, and it lays eggs in that nest in the sky. The eggs hatch, and there comes all the little ones, and they fly into the sky. They remain in the sky whole life. They eat and drink and do everything in the sky, and they die in the sky, and they have progenies in the sky only. They lay eggs in the same way of their ancestors. So they are in the sky, and when it sounds, its sound will be so terrific, and one who hears that sound of the bird Gandabhairav, he is bound to die. he is going to die. This is how the story goes. And there will be pralaya, dissolution in the creation. When the Gandabhairav cries aloud and people hear it, then everybody will die. One who hears the sound of Gandabhairav bird, he has to die. All these stories are imaginary, concocted stories. So many stories are like that. The grandmothers, they speak some stories meaningless to the grandchildren so that they will go to sleep. They are naughty boys. Grandma, please tell me some story, or else I cannot sleep. So she has to tell some stories meaningless. The endless story, unending story, I told you several times, unending story, eternal story. There was a howler. He was catching the birds and earning his livelihood from the birds only. He used to sell them in the market, get little money, and earn his livelihood. So once he thought, why going to jungle and catching birds again and again daily? Why not once I catch all the birds of the whole world? So he made a plan and collected all the fibers of the whole world, and he made some ropes out of it and made a big net which can cover the whole world. And he collected all the grains from the whole world and spread all those grains on the world and fixed the net. So all the birds of the whole world, they came and they saw some grains. So they tried to eat these grains. They were caught in the net. Now, the king, who was very fond of hearing the stories, the cheat was telling the story, unending story, to the king. The king asked, then what happens? Then the storyteller says, then the howler goes to catch one bird. Slowly he removes the net and tries to catch the bird. But he could not, and the bird flies away. Purr. Then the king asks, what happens then? Then another flies. Purr. Then another purr. Then another purr. It goes on unending. Because all the birds are caught in the net, and the net is over the whole world. So it is endless. In this way, some story is meaningless, and this is how this Gandabhairav, the bird in the sky, or many such stories are there. So, in this subject, the king asked Kumbhamuni, is this body like that meaningless object that is son of a barren woman, or horns of a rabbit, or the Gandabhairav body in the sky? All these. Is this body like that? It has got no identity at all, no existence at all. राजा सिखध्वज ने कहा है मुने, असद्रूप दो चंद्रबिंब आदि के कारण का न दिखाई पड़ना ही युक्त ही है। क्या किसी के सामने बंध्यापुत्र के सारे अंगों में आभूषण शोभित होता है? राजा सिखध्वज ने कहा, द किंग सेड, is it like the ornaments of the son of a barren woman? How is it? Or is it like two moons when the eyes are faulty, something you rub the eyes, or your eyes are diseased, you see two moons in the sky, whereas the moon is only one. In this way, all these wrong assumptions, is this body like that? कुंभवने ने कहा, अशरीरम शरीरे स्वनवस्थे स्वस्थितम इत्यादि श्रुति रूप प्रमाण होने से तथा वैसा ही सिद्धांतों का अनुभव होने से एवं कारण का निरूपण न होने से यह आपके द्वारा की गई आपत्ति इष्ट है। कुंभ ने कहा, राजन, शरीर आदि अस्थि पंजर रूपी यह कार्य बिना कारण से ही अनुभूत हो रहा है, इसीलिए असंभव किसी से उत्पन्न न होने के कारण इसे अविद्यमान ही जानिए। Then the ascetic Kumbha Muni, he replied, yes, mind is causeless, and it is just like the son of a barren woman, because we don't find any cause for this body which is seen as the effect. And there are many proofs we get in the scriptures. The body is baseless, body is not there. So, you have to accept this conclusion. This body is not at all there. It has got no existence. From our our analytical process we can see. See, if there are two objects, then there is possibility of relativity, law of relativity. One becomes the cause for the other. One becomes the cause for the other. The other becomes the cause for the first one. In this way, cause becomes effect, effect becomes cause. This is only a relative cycle. If there is cause, then there will be effect. If there will be effect, there will be some cause. So the cycle goes on. This we have seen. The whole world is based upon this principle. Now, if there is some numbers, that means 2, 3, 4 and all these, then only this law is applicable. Cause becomes effect, effect becomes cause. If there is no 2, only 1 is there, then there is no question of cause and effect. Cause and effect theory is applicable to dualistic world, where there is 2 or more. When there is only 1, it cannot be cause for anything, any effect, nor it can be effect of any cause, because it is 1. You see, when we go on finding for the cause of the effect, in the end we have to reach somewhere where there will be no cause for the cause. That is called primordial cause, which is causeless cause, because it becomes absolute, 1 without a second. In other language we say it is the absolute singularity, or the other language says 1 without a second. There is no possibility of the second or third, so it is absolute 1. Then there is no cause and effect, so there cannot be any body or any sense of body or the feeling of the body or the doer and done and doing process. All these triads are not possible in 1. Triads are possible: doer, doing and done, seer, seeing and seen. All these are based on this changing phenomena of the world. And names and forms, cause and effect, all these are seen in the dualistic world, relative world. And it cannot have any cause. The world has no cause. The world has no purpose, no goal, nothing. It is baseless, it is meaningless, it is not to be found as some existence. Just as there is no darkness, it is only inability to see the light. That is called darkness. There is no such darkness as something. It is only absence of the light. That means inability to see the light, to be in the light. That is called darkness. Darkness, if we analyze, darkness is nothing but invisibility. Invisibility is called darkness. Say, at dark night the human beings do not see anything, but what about the owls and wild animals? They see everything. all the objects are visible for them. So when we measure the visibility at the time of fog, when there will be everywhere mist due to you see, ecological effect. Sometimes we don't see things clearly because of fog. So there is some method to measure visibility. So visibility is a method only to see some degrees, just as we measure the temperature. Temperature is nothing but heat only. Heat is higher or lower. When it becomes very much less, we go to minus, and then that is known as cold. The heat is cold, cold is heat. Only degrees differ. Temperature is heat and cold both. In this way we measure the temperature. Similarly, we measure the visibility, which is known as darkness and also light. In light, you see some objects clearly. In darkness also, we see some objects, but not clearly. That visibility is less. It is not the darkness, but it is your incapability of the eyes. The same eyes of the owls, they see everything clearly in the darkness. And nowadays, in this scientific age, we have razor light, what do you call it?
Photochromatic.
Yes.
Photochromatic lens.
Yes. So in darkness also it is visible. So what is the meaning of darkness then? In this way, when we analyze what is light and darkness, it is both are the same. Both are the same, but the degrees differ. Similarly, this world, we see the world, which you see the world as something. It is not that for others. Your visibility is not same for others. So you cannot claim your vision is right. And many other examples we give. The same person, one sees one person as something, others see the same person as something else. One person is father to a child, and he is a child to his father. He is a son of his father and father of his son. He is brother of his brother and husband of his wife. So what is he? Different persons see the one object in different ways. See these beautiful flowers, so soft, so beautiful. We cannot eat it. But what is that for the caterpillar? It is but beautiful, delicious food. So same thing is seen and observed and behaved in different ways by different beings. So how can you claim this your so-called visible world is true as you say? It is not so. Your vision is different from my vision. Your understanding is different from my understanding. Your knowledge is different from my knowledge. So what is that universal conclusion which everybody should accept? Similarly, this body is so usable for you, but for the small germs in the excreta in your intestine, what is this body for them? The RBC and WBC, how do they see this body? They are also beings. They have also life. They have birth and death. They enjoy the whole full life and their propagation and their young age, their old age, their birth and death, they enjoy just as you. The mosquitoes also, they enjoy their childhood, young age, marriage ceremony. They conduct also honeymoon, and they also get old and they die also. They enjoy their full length of life. And how do you look at these mosquitoes? And how do these elephants look at human beings? They live for 300 years. How do these snakes who live for thousands of years, how do they look at these human beings? They are just like mosquitoes. So many come and go. How does this river look at the human beings? Men may come and men may go. I go on forever. So see, the visibility, the vision, or the understanding, or the perception differs from person to person. How can you take some conclusion that this is the truth? Your body is like that, your visible world is like that. All the names and forms are ever changing. So you cannot claim this body is existing and it is something. By no way. Sikhidwaj Uvacha, Itihas, Sikhidwaj, the king says, Itihas, Anuman, Apta Purushon ki ukti, तथा अनुगत स्थान साम्य रूप हेतु आदि प्रमाण से इस शरीर का कारण पिता तो अवश्य ज्ञात है, फिर इसका आप कैसे अपलाप करते हैं? यूँ राजा सिखिध्वज आशंका करते हैं. नाउ सिखिध्वज द किंग adopts the other path, diversion. All these arguments are okay. Now you have proved that the body doesn't exist. But he says, it is hard by from everyone, and it is seen by everyone. The body, if it is an effect, the father and mother, the parents are the cause for it. Biological process, see the process of biology. When the ovum gets matured and semen gets into the ovum, they get together and then they grow. Semen from the father, ovum from the mother, they get together by biological process, and then they grow, and slowly the growth is in some womb, in some uterus, some bag, and then it comes out of the bag, just as you bring so many items from the market in one bag, and when you come home, you take out one by one from the bag. Similarly, from the womb, these children, they come out. Human beings, of course, one or two, but pigs, more than 20. And mostly the goats, they produce two, and others also. So, it is just like a bag, and inside the bag, the uterus, the children are grown up. You may say, not all the beings grown up in the uterus. There are 4 kinds of beings. Some are grown from the seed. They are called Udbhidas, the plant life. Some others, they come out of the eggs, birds and others. Some others come out of the watery sweat or some watery substance, leeches and the earthworms and all these beings. Even then, there is mixture of two. Then only the third diagonal force is possible. When the two get together, then the third comes out. This is the law of nature. When two forces clash against each other, the diagonal force, third force comes out. This is the law of physics. On this the whole world is based on. Now, how can you say this body is not there? It has got some cause. This is effect. The cause is there. The parents or the biological process. It is got from, this proof is from history. Your father is so and so, your grandfather is so and so. This is brought from history. Anuman, and we guess, Anuman Praman. See, there are different kinds of proofs. Now we see the Ganga water is dirty, so we have to guess. There is snow melting in the upper regions of Himalayas, where from the Ganges takes its origin. Then only the water can be dirty. Or there is somewhere landslide in uphills, then only the water is dirty. From the present situation, we can guess the cause of the situation. Anuman, gesture. Pratyaksh is direct. Anuman is gesture. Assuming, that also is a kind of proof. Apta Purush, the great people, because we always, it is seen in the world, always everybody follows the elders. We learn from elders. So we have to believe on elders. Elders means experienced people. The child learns from its father and mother. Everywhere in the nature, see, the youngsters learn from the elders. Everywhere in the nature. So, Apta Purush, experiential persons, experienced persons. So, their words also are the proofs. They say, your father is so and so. So we have to believe it. We have to take it for the cause of the body. Anugat, because we are closely related in it, that is also proof. Sthana Samya Roop and place, similarity in the place means this. All these are proofs for some object. Does it exist? Is it real or not? We want witness. Two witnesses are enough. In all the courts of the whole world, they need two witnesses. One is not enough. So there are so many proofs, witnesses. So now, how can you say this body is causeless? In this way, the king Sikhindwaj asks Kumbhamuni, is not ready to accept. It is not so easy. राजा सिखिध्वज ने कहा है, मुनीश्वर हाथ पैर आदि से युक्त प्रतिदिन दिखाई दे रहे इस शरीर का भला पिता कारण कैसे नहीं है? O great ascetic, Sikhindwaj asks, how can you deny the father is not the cause for this body which is visible and usable by us? Everybody sees this body, feels the presence of the body, and the cause of this body is the father. In Gita also Lord Krishna says, Aham bijaprada pita. I am the primordial seed of the world. Aham bijaprada pita. Where? In what context? When the world is, body is a field, the great seers have taken this body as a field, and the crop is karma, actions, and reactions are the yield. So in this way, the farmer, the inner indweller, he is the farmer, He goes on sowing seeds every now and then. The body is the field. He grows crop and yields the result. Karma, the action as the crop. Reaction is the yield. Cause and effect. Body is the field. And the seed, the first seed is given by the absolute God. That means that is the primordial cause for everything. That is the seed. Tukaram sings, Adi Bij Akele. The primordial seed, absolute truth. The causeless cause for the whole universe. कुंभ मुनि ने कहा उसकी भी कोई सत्ता नहीं है, दोनों में एक ही न्याय समान रूप से लगता है। इस गूढ़ अभिप्राय से युक्त कुंभ ऋषि उसी उत्तर को फिर कहते हैं। कुंभ ने कहा है राजन, कारण का अभाव होने से सचमुच पिता भी नहीं है। जो पदार्थ असत से उत्पन्न हुआ रहता है वह भी असद रूप ही कहा जाता है। Sikhidwas gives some proofs for the present. He doesn't see the past and future at a glance. He is just telling about the present situation. He says this body is effect of the cause father. So Kumbhamuni says, my dear king, the father also has a body, and that body also same way baseless, causeless. Then you will say, no, father has his father, my grandfather. In this way, if you go on telling cause of the cause, cause of the cause, that is what we discussed just now. Because it is dualistic world and everything is in a rotation, in a cycle. So the same cause becomes the effect of the other cause. In this way, cause becomes effect, effect becomes cause. So there is no end to it. It is endless story. Endless story. So just as your body is with some cause, your father, similarly the father will have some father. So how long you will go on? For this we have the one method. We have the method called Rath Parampara. Rath Parampara, the traditional way of the chariot. The traditional chariot. Chariot means some movable vehicle which can move. So it will have some speed. If the chariot has some speed, to whom does that speed belong to? Whose speed is called the chariot's speed? Chariot is not one single entity. It has wheels, it has some body, it has some axis, it has some rims and spokes of the wheel, and it has some other parts also, and also the driver. Chariot, we can take the car as a vehicle, chariot. Similarly, is our body. Body also is nothing but a chariot. It is a vehicle. It is a vehicle. The indweller is the driver or the owner of the vehicle, which is not real owner. We shall see the speed of the chariot. This is called the theory of speed of the chariot. If we see the wheel of the car, the wheel is tightly fixed with the axis. If it gets away from the axis, then the chariot, the vehicle cannot move. And in the wheel also, the rim, the spokes, the tire or the covering that tire of the bullock cart wheel, that is also same as the tire, and spoke also. Everywhere the process is the same, and there will be an engine. In the engine there will be fuel. Here engine is nothing but the bullocks in the bullock cart or chariot, some horses will be there, and in our vehicle the engine, machines, and the fuel also will be there, and all those connectivities, and the driver, the what do you call it? Steering. Everything is tightly, every part of the vehicle is tightly fixed. Nothing is movable. The driver also sits tightly with the belt. Yes. So in this way, if everybody is stable, every part is stable in the body of the car, how can you say the car is moving? Whose speed is the car's speed? When you compare the car with the road, then only you see the movement of the car, or else there is no movement. Speed is a comparative term, a relative term. Without comparison, you cannot understand what is the speed. There is no such speed. Because analytically when we see, mechanically when we see, all the parts of the body of the car is so tightly fixed. If something gets loose from the whole body, then the car cannot move. So what is the meaning of the speed? There is no meaning. It is a relative term. Only when you compare one with the other, then only you understand something. See the relativity. If one is there, one finger is there, it is neither big nor small. When the other comes beside it, then only one becomes big, other becomes the small. These relative terms are known, understood, has got meaning only when it is compared with each other, or else there is no meaning of tallness or shortness or thickness or thinness. All these words are meaningless. When we compare it, then only it gets some meaning. Similarly, the day and night, light and darkness, all these language, all these words are only relatively understood, or else no word has got any meaning. What to speak of your body or your dynasty or your traditions, nothing has got any meaning. When it is compared relatively with each other, then we get some meaning which is always changeable, because everything, all these comparison changes. So nothing has got a stable meaning. In this way, when we go on analyzing logically, mechanically, analytically, from every angle, from 360-degree angle, then we see body has got no cause for it. No cause. Some relative causes will be there, and that is momentary, that will go on changing. So we cannot rely upon it. This is how the whole world is constituted by names and forms which are ever changing. We cannot rely upon these names and forms. It has got no cause, nor it can be any effect of anything. They are baseless, meaningless assumptions, imaginations.
Even from the million Siemens, why only we have been selected to born in that moment?
Pardon?
If that cause says like that, from the million Siemens, only one Siemens is selected to be born as a. वो ओवम और सीमेंस से वो हजारों लाखों सीमेंस में जा रहे तो सिर्फ एक ही सेलेक्ट होके हम पैदा होते हैं.
Sometimes you see biologically, if you analyze ovums in the uterus, when they are matured, all are capable of holding the semen, but all the semen are not capable of entering into the ovum. So they try their level best and they die out. So sometimes in some beings, many semen, they enter into the ovums and many children are born. So that depends upon the strength of the semen and ovum. That is also cause and effect theory.
That's what. From that million, only some are selected.
Yes, yes. In that way, it goes on endlessly. Whatever we bring to discussion, that is endless story. It will have some causes, and then those causes will have some other causes. In this way, it goes on endlessly. The whole world is endless story. It is a unending story. World is nothing but an unending story, an unending journey. That is we call evolution process. There is no end to it. Yes. So tomorrow we shall see further whether this body does exist or not. So tomorrow, our Kuma Muni, he will explain to Sikhidwaj. He will go on emphasizing and put this thought into his brain. That means one way we can say brainwashing. The thoughts created in the brain, they are not capable to hold these ideas. That is called purification process. Just as the ovums do not get all the Siemens, similarly, here the thought waves cannot catch these ideas easily. If they are purified, if they are strong enough, steady, then only they can catch these subtle ideas. That is called purificatory process. Hari Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnada Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadguru Bhagavan ki jai. Satchidananda Bhagavan ki jai. Sabda Brahma ki jai. Saraswati Maharani ki jai. Yoga Vasudha Ji Bhagavan ki jai.